Tonight, you will lie in bed completely safe. The door is locked. The temperature is perfect. Nothing is coming for you. And yet, something in your chest will tighten. Your eyes will flick toward a dark corner, and a voice you cannot name will whisper that you should check the door one more time. That feeling is not anxiety. That feeling is millions of years old. And it is the single most important reason you are alive today. Your brain was not built for the world you live in. It was built for a world that no longer exists. A world where the darkness actually moved, where the sound of a snapped twig meant something with claws was deciding whether you were worth the effort, where every single morning you woke up was a statistical miracle, because the night before, something could have ended you. That brain, that ancient threat detection machine, is the exact same brain sitting inside your skull right now, and it has absolutely no idea that the predators are gone. Neuroscientist Joseph LeDoux spent decades mapping what he called the fear circuit. What he found was not a rational system that weighs evidence. What he found was a tripwire. Deep in the center of your brain sits a small almond-shaped cluster of neurons called the amygdala. It is old, far older than the parts of your brain that form sentences or plan vacations. And its entire job, its only job, is to detect threat and respond before you have time to think. Before you even know something scared you, your amygdala has already flooded your body with adrenaline, tensed your muscles, and narrowed your vision to focus on whatever moved in the dark. LeDoux called this the low road, a direct neural shortcut that bypasses conscious thought entirely. Your body reacts, and then your rational brain catches up and tries to explain why. This system is not a flaw. It was the single most important upgrade in the history of vertebrate life. If you were a small primate 2 million years ago and you heard a rustle in the grass, you had two options. You could pause, gather data, weigh the probability that it was a predator versus a breeze, and reach a calm, logical conclusion. Or you could run. The ones who paused are not your ancestors. The ones who ran every single time for every rustle and every shadow and every unexpected sound, those are the people you came from. Anthropologist Lynn Isbell at the University of California, Davis, has argued that the visual cortex of primates, the part of the brain that processes what your eyes see, evolved in direct response to the presence of snakes. Snakes were one of the most persistent, camouflaged, and lethal threats early primates faced, and in response, your ancestors evolved sharper pattern recognition, faster threat detection, and an almost supernatural ability to spot hidden danger in complex visual noise. That ability is still running in your brain, right now, updated to look for suspicious strangers and speeding cars and sudden movements in parking garages. Think about what that actually means. Your visual system, the part of you that sees the world, was shaped in part by hundreds of millions of years of being hunted. You do not look at the world neutrally. You scan it. Your eyes do not drift randomly. They are drawn, automatically and without effort, to edges, to movement, to faces, and to anything that breaks a pattern. You cannot turn this off. It is not a setting, it is the hardware. But here is where it gets strange. The brain that kept your ancestors alive had to make a specific trade-off. It had to be wrong constantly in one direction, not the direction that got you killed, the other one. Your amygdala will fire at a coiled garden hose. It will fire at a shadow in the shape of a crouching figure. It will fire at a face-like arrangement of 3 dots on a wall. Psychologist Paul Rozin at the University of Pennsylvania calls this the negativity bias, and he has documented it extensively. Negative events, threatening stimuli, possible dangers, all of them hit harder, register faster, and leave longer-lasting impressions than neutral or positive experiences. A single bad event can override dozens of good ones. This is not weakness, it is engineering. In a world where one missed threat could kill you, it was always better to run from 10 garden hoses than to hesitate once in front of a real snake. The cost of a false alarm is embarrassment. The cost of a missed alarm is death. Your brain ran the math 1,000,000 years ago and has never changed the answer. So your heart pounds in a movie theater. So you flinch at a car backfiring. So you cannot sleep until you hear that the front door is actually locked. You are not overreacting. You are running ancient code on modern hardware, and the code is doing exactly what it was designed to do. The problem is that the threats have changed and the system has not. Because here is what the system does not know. It does not know the difference between a deadline and a lion. It does not know the difference between a social rejection and being exiled from the tribe, which, 200,000 years ago, was a death sentence. It does not know the difference between an angry email from your boss and the sound of something large moving through the undergrowth outside camp. To your amygdala, stress is stress. Danger is danger. The physiological response is the same. Cortisol rises, blood pressure climbs, digestion slows, muscles tighten. Your body is preparing to fight or run from a threat that does not exist in any physical form, that cannot be outrun, that cannot be fought with your hands. And because the threat never resolves, the stress response never ends. And that is where the damage lives. Researcher Robert Sapolsky at Stanford University has spent years studying how chronic stress affects the body, and his conclusions are stark. The same stress response that saved your ancestors in short, intense bursts, when it runs continuously, begins to destroy the systems it was designed to protect. It damages memory. It suppresses the immune system. It elevates cardiovascular risk. Sapolsky puts it plainly. Humans are unique among animals in that we can turn on the stress response just by thinking. A zebra running from a lion activates its stress response for 90 seconds. Then the lion is either gone or it is not, and the zebra either grazes again or it does not. Humans activate the stress response for years, about mortgages, about reputation, about things that have not happened yet and may never happen. You are running a survival program designed for a world of immediate physical threats in a world where the threats are slow, invisible, and never fully resolved. And yet, understanding this changes something. When your chest tightens in a dark parking lot, you are not broken. You are ancient. When you cannot stop replaying a difficult conversation, looking for what went wrong, that is the same system that replayed the hunt, that memorized the terrain, that learned from every mistake because the next mistake might be the last one. When you feel uneasy in a crowd, watching the exits, tracking the faces, that is a surveillance system that your ancestors paid for in blood over millions of years being handed to you for free. The question is not how to shut it off. The research makes clear that you cannot. LeDoux himself spent years trying to understand how to extinguish fear memories, and what he found was that you do not erase them. You layer new learning on top of them. The old circuit stays, but the brain builds a second pathway, a conscious, deliberate, slower pathway that can evaluate the threat and choose a different response. Not faster than the amygdala, never faster, but capable of arriving a fraction of a second later and saying, "Garden hose, we have been here before." That is what every mindfulness practice, every breathing technique, every cognitive behavioral strategy is actually doing. Not silencing the ancient alarm. Adding a second voice that can, sometimes, in the right conditions, say, "You are safe. The predator is not real. You can put the adrenaline down." Your ancestors never got to do that. They never had the luxury of knowing the threat was not real, because in their world, it almost always was. You have that luxury. The darkness in your room is not filled with anything that wants you. The sound of the pipes is not a predator. The anxiety you feel scrolling through headlines is the same system that once meant you made it through another night. And making it through nights, one after another, for 10,000 generations, is the only reason you exist at all. Tonight, when you lie in bed and something in you wants to check the door one more time, understand what that feeling actually is. It is not weakness, it is inheritance. It is the oldest voice in the body, doing the only thing it has ever known how to do. It is the reason you are here. And for the first time in human history, you are safe enough to know the difference.